Laura Ingraham delivered a strange monologue last night in response to the news that Donald Trump has been indicted, and she had some things to say. But as she was saying those things, the level of confusion within every cell of hers was so present, as you're about to see here. She clearly has absolutely no idea what on earth is going on, because you'll see, but she outlines a rather strange bit of criticism for Biden, as you're about to see, clearly highlighting her own misunderstanding about how the world works.
Now, sure, they're officially saying no comment when they're asked about Alvin Bragg's indictment of President Trump. But make no mistake tonight, Joe Biden bears the ultimate responsibility for what this will do to America. Now, our nation's chief executive has the inherent duty to do everything he or she can to preserve America's standing in the world as the world's leading democracy. Now, that means, whether through back channels or public speeches, Biden should have made it very clear that his party would oppose any local prosecutor who uses trumped-up criminal charges to punish and humiliate a former president. But of course, Biden didn't do this. Instead, once again, he bowed to the far left, which has been salivating over the prospect of Trump and a mugshot for years.
What? Biden's supposed to, through back channels, as she said, prevent a local prosecution? He's supposed to interfere with the local investigation and a local prosecution because Laura Ingraham says so. For how long now have we been hearing from the Republican Party that the Democrats, Biden, are weaponizing the federal government to overstep and to use the federal government in inappropriate ways toward their political ambitions or whatever it might be? For a while, right? We've been hearing that narrative. And now Laura Ingraham saying, weaponization of the federal government, overstepping. No, I want that now. I want you to overstep as the president, which, how would he even do this? Back channels, as she says, and try to interfere with a local investigation of an individual who has possibly committed these crimes. Why would Biden do that? That would be highly inappropriate for the president of the United States to get involved in something like this. But tons of people are going to watch that and go, yeah, that's why Biden's horrible, because he didn't interfere and overstep. The thing that we've been saying is bad that he does is all of a sudden what he should be doing. And then continuing with this bizarre monologue.
Going forward, when any American president or diplomat speaks out against, let's say, the human and civil rights abuses in Russia or China, well, those countries are just going to respond with, you're lecturing us? Nice try. But your system is morally bankrupt. You did everything you could to put one of your own former presidents in prison right before one of your so-called elections. Well, and at that point, given what's happened, who could argue with that?
Huh? Having a good, fair, just justice system includes individuals not getting treated differently just because they're someone who had or has a position of power, is wealthy, is prominent. No. The law should not take that into consideration, or the application of the law, I should say. And so our justice system being more respected by other countries, the way we would push toward that goal actually includes making sure someone like Trump, even though he's Trump, if he committed crimes, is held accountable for them, because that would be not having a biased justice system in favor of those who are prominent, powerful, well-connected, wealthy, etc. That would be a good thing for having an equal justice system if he has committed these crimes and there's evidence for them, which Laura Ingraham has no clue if there is evidence for the charges that are being brought, because we don't even know specifically what the charges are yet. That is still private. There's speculation, but we don't know for sure. And then more from this monologue.
But now, on the cusp of what will be a fascinating, perhaps competitive GOP primary, 18 months before the presidential election, suddenly this case is a priority on a state level? Interesting timing. This is a shameful day in the history of the country. This is going to poison our political landscape for years to come. And the entire episode makes Biden out to be a total liar. So tonight, though.
What does this have to do with Biden in terms of the investigation that we're discussing here? Biden, it will impact maybe his reelection just based on the situation being one that involves who would be probably his running mate. But how is this something that reflects on him at all? It shouldn't reflect on him at all because he's not involved in it, because he's not the one prosecuting Trump. It's not even his Justice Department. There would be more of a, Biden appointed this person with the DOJ, and how does that play in with the federal investigation? But it's even less of an effective talking point when Biden should have nothing to do with it because he's not even involved in this local prosecution.
Claimed defenders of democracy, they've been proven themselves beyond any reasonable doubt to be total frauds. In fact, they've proven themselves to be the ultimate election meddlers. But now, on the
what does that even mean? Biden is not an election meddler. And even if you were to create the narrative that somehow what's going on out of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is election meddling, which it's not. But even if you were to say it was, that still would not at all relate to Biden. And the last moment we'll look at, I promise.
Go back and read Lincoln's second inaugural address.
Oh gosh.
Now, in the
well, anytime here we go. Here's the comparison she's going to make.
midst of an actual bloody civil war. Now, after that, was his speech all about vengeance? Putting Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis in jail? Hell no. It was about how we as a nation needed to come together. It was about reconciliation.
What does that have to do with this? We're not coming out of a civil war where Biden is deciding whether or not to prosecute individuals on the other side. That's not at all applicable. Why are you bringing that up? Because Trump's a presidential candidate, he shouldn't be having the law applied to him? That is the point that we're hearing from people. That's it. That's all they believe. They can say 1,000 words to explain what really is the essence of their point, being because it's Donald Trump, he shouldn't have to worry about laws, those stupid laws. Laws that are applied to other people, he should not have them applied to him. That's what they're saying. They say all these words, make all these points. They're supposed to strengthen their argument. They would never want to admit to just saying, yes, Trump's above the law. But that's what they feel, because they don't even know the specifics of the charges or the evidence that's coming along with the charges. And already they know that it's all bogus. And for some reason, Biden should click the magical end the investigation button for the sake of unity. What are we talking about? It should be a unifying message to say no one's above the law. If Trump committed crimes, he should be held accountable for them. If he didn't, then he shouldn't. Seems like he has. And if there's evidence for them, he should be prosecuted. He should be, held accountable for those violations of the law. It's really not that complicated. And I thought that it was the GOP who was the law and order party. Not anymore.